The Infocom Media Development Authority is looking into the disruption to Singtel's fixed voice services. It says it takes a serious view of any service disruption to public telecommunications and will investigate what happened. Emergency hotline services like 995 and 999 are now up and running after the disruption, which lasted several hours this afternoon. Hotlines run by banks and medical facilities were also affected, as well as some landlines serving Changi Airport. Now, at one point, more than 2,700 reports related to the telco were filed on an outage tracking website. Singtel alerted customers to the issue in a Facebook post around 3:40 p.m. The disruption also affected the hotlines of several hospitals, including KK Women's and Children's Hospital and those under the National University Health Systems. Patients were directed to make their appointments via email or through apps. Now, CNA understands that medical services were not affected at hospitals in the West. The country's big three local banks, DBS, UOB and OCBC, also reported issues. Certain transactions under payment provider nets were also temporarily affected. Most of the affected lines were restored and services resumed by around 7 p.m. Singtel has apologized for the inconvenience caused. In an evening update, it said its engineers had isolated the problem affecting fixed voice services and recovery measures had been deployed. Now, for more analysis, I'm now joined by Assistant Professor Purnima Murali Mohan from the Singapore Institute of Technology. Dr. Purnima, thank you very much for joining us this evening. First of all, what may have caused today's disruption to Singtel's fixed voice services? Could it have been a physical infrastructure or a software issue?
Yeah. Based on the updates that we have on the Singtel issue, so the engineers have updated, they have isolated the issue, which means they have suggested where the problem could have occurred. So looking at that, it could have been a specific hardware issue, so such as a line failure or a copper or a fiber cable failure. It could have also been a software issue that has been mitigated. But given that the workaround was being deployed and the root cause was identified, they have indeed determined the component or the hardware component that has caused the issue, and they have routed to their alternate backup paths. So what is key here is the mobile infrastructure is unaffected, which means we can confine this to the ISDN infrastructures.
So it's either a hardware.
Yeah.
So it's either a hardware or a software issue you were talking about. Meanwhile, Singtel engineers isolated the problem affecting fixed voice services. Can you share more on the technology behind a fixed voice service, or what is known as an integrated services digital network? Are there known vulnerabilities that lead to service disruptions?
Yeah. So ISDN, in short for Integrated Services Digital Network. So this is a system where both the voice and the data transmission happens on the same telephone line. So the telephone line, traditional telephone lines that we have, that is being shared both for the data and the voice. And these ISDNs have two kinds of channels. We call it as a B channel and the D channel. So generally the B channel is the one that transmits the data over the line cards. And the D channel, on the other hand, is responsible for the signaling issues. So that is the reason it could have been either a physical issue on the B channel, or it could have been a software issue on the D channel.
So should a similar disruption occur again, Dr. Purnima, what kind of backup should essential emergency hotlines like 999 and 995 have if outages last longer?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. So we do have, I believe, redundant ISDN lines. That was the reason Singtel was able to switch back to the backup lines in a few hours. And the alternate technology, recent technologies that we have also support voice over IP, for example. So Singtel does support voice over IP, so they do have the infrastructure. Similar to what we have in the US recently, which is the NG911. So where they use an alternate infrastructure to go over voice over IP in case of any disruptions in the telephone line. So those kind of methods could actually help mitigate these issues.
All right, Dr. Purnima, thank you very much for speaking with us tonight. That was Assistant Professor Purnima Murali Mohan from the Singapore Institute of Technology.